Do you say sorry for my bad English before every conversation? Do you apologize for your accent, your grammar mistakes, or your vocabulary? Here's the hard truth. Every time you apologize for your English, you're telling people that your communication isn't worth listening to. You're training them to focus on your mistakes instead of your message. And worst of all, you're programming your own brain to believe that your English is something to be ashamed of. But what if I told you that saying sorry for your English is actually making your English worse? What if those apologies are the biggest obstacle between you and fluent communication? Let me share something that changed my perspective completely. I used to start every English conversation with an apology. Sorry, my English is not very good. Or, excuse me for my poor English. Or, I hope you can understand my bad accent. I thought I was being polite. I thought I was managing expectations. But then, something happened that opened my eyes. I was at an international conference, and I heard a speaker from Germany give a presentation. His English had a strong accent, he made some grammar mistakes, and he sometimes searched for words. But he never apologized once. He just spoke with confidence and shared his brilliant ideas. After his talk, people crowded around him, asking questions and wanting to connect. Nobody cared about his accent or his grammar. They cared about his ideas, his expertise, his passion. That's when I realized something crucial. People don't remember how perfect your English was. They remember how confident you were and how valuable your message was. So why do we apologize for our English? Usually it comes from three places. First, we apologize because we're afraid of being judged. We think that if we say sorry first, people will be more forgiving of our mistakes. But here's what actually happens. When you apologize for your English, you're directing attention to your weaknesses instead of your strengths. Second, we apologize because we compare ourselves to native speakers. But this is like a basketball player apologizing for not being as tall as the tallest player in the league. You're playing a different game with different challenges. Third, we apologize because we've been taught that humility is polite. And humility can be beautiful, but there's a difference between being humble and undermining yourself. Here's what happens in people's minds when you apologize for your English. Before you apologize, they're just listening to your message. But when you say, sorry for my bad English, suddenly they start listening to your English instead of your ideas. You've literally trained them to become grammar police instead of engaged listeners. I learned this lesson the hard way during a job interview. I started by saying, I apologize in advance for my English mistakes. The interviewer's whole demeanor changed. Instead of focusing on my qualifications and experience, I could see him analyzing my grammar and pronunciation for the rest of the interview. I didn't get the job. But here's the beautiful thing about confidence. It's contagious. When you speak with confidence, people listen with respect. When you believe your message is valuable, others believe it too. So, how do you stop apologizing for your English and start communicating with confidence? Step 1. Replace apologies with appreciation. Instead of saying, sorry for my bad English, try saying, thank you for your patience, or I appreciate you taking the time to listen. This shifts the focus from your weaknesses to their kindness. Step 2. Focus on your message, not your medium. Before you speak, remind yourself why your message matters. What value are you bringing to this conversation? What insights do you have to share? Your ideas are more important than perfect grammar. Step 3. Embrace your unique voice. Your accent isn't a flaw. It's part of your story. It shows that you're multilingual, multicultural, and brave enough to communicate in a second language. That's actually incredibly impressive. I remembered the first time I had a conversation without apologizing for my English. I was talking to a colleague about a project idea. Usually, I would start with, sorry, my English might not be clear, but instead, I just started sharing my idea directly. The conversation flowed so much better. My colleague was engaged, asking questions, building on my thoughts. At the end, he said, that's a brilliant idea. Let's develop it further. He never once mentioned my English. He only talked about my idea. That's when I realized that most people don't care about your English level. They care about what you have to say. But what about when you genuinely make mistakes or don't know a word? Here's how to handle it confidently. If you make a grammar mistake, don't apologize. Just correct it naturally and move on. I go to the store yesterday. I went to the store yesterday. No big deal. If you can't find a word, don't say, sorry, I don't know the English word. Instead, try, let me think of another way to say this, or just describe what you mean. You know, the thing you use to open bottles, a bottle opener. If someone doesn't understand your pronunciation, don't apologize for your accent. Just repeat it clearly or spell it out. Let me say that again more slowly. These approaches show confidence and problem-solving skills, not weakness. Here's another powerful mindset shift. Stop thinking of yourself as someone who speaks bad English. Start thinking of yourself as someone who speaks international English. Your English doesn't have to sound like it's from London or New York. It just has to communicate your ideas clearly. Some of the most successful international business people, scientists, and leaders speak English with accents from their home countries, and they never apologize for it because they know their expertise and ideas matter more than their pronunciation. I want you to try an experiment. For the next week, ban yourself from apologizing for your English. Not once, no matter what happens. Instead, when you feel the urge to apologize, take a deep breath and jump straight into your message. I have an idea. I think we should, in my experience, start with confidence and people will listen with respect. Remember, you're not speaking English because you have to. You're speaking English because you choose to. You're brave enough to communicate across cultural and linguistic barriers. You're connecting with people from different backgrounds and sharing ideas across borders. That's not something to apologize for. That's something to be proud of. Your message matters. Your ideas have value. Your perspective is unique and important. Don't let unnecessary apologies diminish the power of what you have to say. So stop saying sorry for your English. Start saying something meaningful instead. The world is waiting to hear what you have to contribute. Speak with confidence. Communicate with purpose. And remember, your English is good enough to change someone's day, to share important ideas, and to build meaningful connections. That's worth celebrating, not apologizing for. Until next time, keep speaking boldly, and I'll see you in the next episode.